Welcome back to my basement for the fourth video in the Dance at Home Physio Tips series. This is the tutorial video where I'm going to teach you 4 exercises and 3 stretches all about dancer turnout strengthening. Did you know that if you don't do your turnout properly from the top of your leg spinning on your pelvis like this, if you don't do that, then you're actually setting yourself up for a host of dance injuries that happen to your lower leg because of doing a turnout strategy a different way than what I'm going to describe and show you in these exercises. And so we're going to be practicing all this beautiful deep rotation that is crucial to a healthy turnout experience, whether you're dancing at home or you're going back to your training soon, hopefully. And so this is going to be really nice to go through the technique together and make sure that you understand each exercise and can practice it. And then in video number 5, we're going to sequence these all together into a workout for your turn. And I want to give a big shout out to Joanna Speller and Irene Dowd. Both are wonderful colleagues of mine who are instrumental in bringing some of these exercises into my life in the first place, and who are both very generous with their support and permission for me to share these with you through this YouTube video. Now let's remember that this video is for educational purposes only, and if you need physiotherapy care, please contact your own physiotherapist, or you're welcome to contact me. You can do that through ellephysio.com. And now let's get to the exercises. So the first exercise I'm going to teach you is called the Dowd Tensor Fascia Lata Release Exercise. And if you are a physio or any dance teacher who knows a lot about anatomy out there, this is actually like a proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation exercise. But bottom line for everybody is it's sort of like one of my favorite magical exercises that helps to really free up your turnout and help get rid of some tension that's in the way that would make for harder to get to your turnout. And Irene Dowd is the creator of this exercise and gave me permission to use it. Thank you again, Irene. So I'm going to teach you from the front here so I can talk you through it a bit, but then I'm going to turn around and show you with the other leg from the back view so that you get a sense of what it really looks like when done properly. And I just want to explain it to you. So I said it's the tensor fascia lata exercise, and that's because we have a little muscle right here from basically where you feel your pelvis, the bone, and it goes right to this part of your thigh, which is called your greater trochanter. There's a little diagonal, kind of like exactly where a pocket would be. And that muscle, though little, it is mighty because it can actually create tension all the way down your IT band to where it attaches at your knee. It can even cause pain all the way to this side of your knee on the inside. And so when it's tight, and trust me, it likes to get tight quite easily, it can really play havoc because it's actually a turn-in muscle. In fact, it does 3 actions. It does turn in and lift up and lift forward. So those 3 things it can do, and you can like really feel it like a little mini bicep when you do that. And so the special way that Irene figured this out to help it release is to do the 3 opposite movements, which is going to be turned out, derriere, and across the other direction, so not up but down. And then by doing the 3 opposites and using the muscles of those 3 opposites, you get this absolutely wonderful relaxation through this whole muscle that actually takes some of that restriction away so that you can actually get your turnout really fully. And so I'm going to explain this to you. Here we go. So we're on our side like a pencil. So if you can't quite see me in the video, I'm fully lined up all the way from head to toe, totally straight line. And then you can rest this arm to help it just be more stable. But then for a little moment, we're gonna on purpose warm up this little muscle by doing a little bit of a turn in, turn out, kind of little figure 8. So we're gonna go turn in, turn out, turn in, turn out. If it's really tight, like mine is feeling a bit tight right now, you'll feel it sort of clunk over this part of your leg, which is called the greater trochanter, and it's like a chunky bone that the muscle pops over. That is not your hip joint, that is just a part of your femur, which is your thigh bone, and it's just kind of getting a little bit of a, like a massage from the tensor fascia lata. It sounds like a Starbucks drink, I realize, but it is an anatomy body part. Okay, so it's a bit warmer. That's good. Now we're going to, on purpose, stay turned out, really, really turned out. Go a bit derriere, just past this bottom leg, and then we're going to find the floor. So now I'm in the three opposites, the turnout, the derriere, and the across, not up. And from this moment on, you are not going to lift your heel off the ground. You must keep it absolutely glued to the ground the whole entire time. But then what we're going to do is we're going to turn out like crazy from our hip joint, like a huge passe, and we're coming up that our heel's on the ground, and we're really rotating from the top of the leg, and we're trying to keep this part nice and squishy, like soft and relaxed and melted. And we find that turnout, and it should be a little bit easier up here. And then with our heel pressing into the floor, never coming off, we're going to go down, back to straight, trying to keep that turnout, keep that turnout, keep that turnout, keep that turnout, don't lose it. And then you're going to do it again. You're going to bend your knee, turnout, 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 and then slide your leg back. That's really good. Okay, so now I'm going to show you on the other side so you can see what happens derriere. So I'll just switch around. I'll just make mention when you can see it this way that I need to line up right at the back of my mat, and I was doing that on the other side as well. But that is because I need a slippery floor right behind me, and especially when I bring my leg up, that I'm not running into the mat. So contrary to normal places on a mat, you're going to be right at the very, very back of it. And so now notice that it's a straight line. I'm not at all tipping my pelvis towards the ceiling. It's staying straight ahead. And then I'm going to make sure my turnout is happening from my thigh bone spinning on my pelvis, not at all my pelvis cheating it and not at all my foot cheating it. It's got to be my hip, actually my leg at the hip joint doing this by itself. So that's the turnout. Then we find the floor, then we dig our heel into the ground while we come up, and we really try to find that full spin without it all cheating where the pelvis is. And then we dig our heel into the ground, keeping that new turnout we just found, and we make sure we don't cheat it with our foot or our pelvis. And then we do that again, and we just keep repeating this a whole bunch of times, 7 to 10, and by the time you've done about 7 or 10, you will notice that it's way easier to get into first position or fifth position, and you don't have so much tension around your hips. So this is a great way to warm up for the series that we're doing right now. So that is the Dowd tensor fascia lata release exercise, and we're on to our next one. Here we go. So exercise number 2 are our dancer clams, and it was really special that Joanna Speller and Irene Dowd both helped me with this a lot back in 2005 when I first started working at Canada's National Ballet School, and it's a great exercise. It helps us with the turnout, especially for the demi-plie, and it's really important that you know that our turnout muscles are not our glutes, like the big muscles that we know we have that we sit on. Those are not the main turnout muscles. Rather, our turnout muscles are called deep rotators, and that is their family name. Each individual muscle has a big first and last name that you don't need to necessarily know, as long as you know the concept that the deep rotators are underneath your glutes. They're right at the level of that chunky part of the thigh that I mentioned, greater trochanter, and they go straight in underneath your glutes. And this exercise is going to really help target those guys. And so I'm going to show you front view and back view again so that you can really grasp what's going on. So let's get to it. So once again, we start off as a pencil, so a perfectly straight line. And then from that place, we're just going to bend our knees. Make sure that your thighs do not slide forward, not at all. Make sure you are completely straight and you just bend at the knee joint, not at all at the hip joint. So that's our placement. And then from this point, it's called the clam because it's going to look like this, which it might look like I'm lifting my knee, but no. What you want to do is make sure the very top of your leg does the spinning, and you're trying to get this bone that you can feel on the edge of you, which is called your greater trochanter again, that it can go deep, deep, deep inside underneath your glutes. Let go of the tension in your glutes. Let this little bone just kind of sneak into a little cave that is made by the shape of the glutes there, and then you're going to come down. So it's going to be an up and a down kind of exercise. You want to definitely go somewhat slow on the way down, and you just really want to go slow enough to make sure you can get the proper technique, but you don't want to have tension here, and you don't want to have tension here when you do it. You want to make sure it's all about the deep back of you, underneath your glutes, the deep back of you that is activating the top of your leg, as if it's like the driver of a car is up here and your knee is simply a passenger. So you're not actually lifting the knee joint, it's just coming along for the ride while your thigh does the spinning. So now let me show you that from the other side. So we're nice and straight, and then we just make sure you're nice and straight. You can use your deep abdominals and then bend your knees without at all sliding your thighs forward at all. And then you're going to rotate the top of your leg, taking this part deep into this little cave that's made by the glutes and slowly coming down and turning out. Keep your feet together and just make sure your knee is simply a passenger, but all the major work is done by the top of your leg, spinning within your pelvis at that beautiful hip joint that we all have. That's great. So I'll sequence this for you in video number 5, but for now, you know how to practice it. So have fun with that. Make sure you get a good handle on it before you put it into the workout. Just get a good handle on what this exercise really is. Okay, thank you. See you for exercise number 3. So for our next exercise, we actually are going to be on our tummy, and these are our tummy leg lifts in demi-plie and straighten. And this also was taught to me by Irene Dowd, and it's meant that we're working the back of us so that some of us are just like really prone to tense up the front of us, and so this really helps to minimize that. You just have to make sure when you're on your tummy that you're not actually making like a bunny tail up in the air. Make sure you're really keeping yourself kind of like lifted with the pelvis, not tipping with the pelvis, and that will help you. So because you don't want to be in like a big back bend right here, you want to be more neutral. And so what's going to happen is we're going to go into like a froggy position. So everyone knows what a typical frog stretch is, I think. But from the frog, we're going to on purpose lift our thighs off the ground, keeping that turnout. At this point, it's easier to put your feet into a flex position as if you're about to stand in a demi-plie position. And then you're going to try to straighten your legs, keeping your knees just off the floor. And then you're going to come back. And it's really important that you use your deep abdominals in this situation. Don't just let your tummy hang on the mat. Keep them really engaged. And this exercise is really quite hard. And you'll find that you really get a good workout for yourself. Like I'm a little bit shaking even as I do this. And that is great. That also keeps deep inside of us working. And this is the action for jumps and all kinds of things we do with the plie stretch. So that's your tummy leg lifts in demi-plie and straighten. See you at exercise number 4. So we made it to the end of the workout, but we're going to finish with one really important aspect, which is a practical and functional application of everything we just did on the floor. Because so much dancing happens when we're standing up, and especially the parts of dancing that would lead to injury, almost all of those would be like the landings of jumps or coming out of a turn or something repetitive on one leg. And so we really want to make sure we've got the skill for the turnout when we're standing like this. And so we're going to do a series of plie releves, but we're going to do it customized to your level. So again, we're going to start off on 2 legs and see how that goes. And it's because the change of the level, the plie and the rise have so much change happens in the leg socket as we go between those 2. We want to make sure that we can keep the turnout whether we're bent or really, really straight, and for that matter, our ankle is up. And so what I like to call this version of the exercise is that it's the soundless, so like no sound, soundless plie releve. And that is because if you're quiet in a room and you do a plie releve, plie rise, you want to make sure that your foot doesn't make a little swoosh sound, because the swoosh sound means you've lost your turnout on the way up. And so you want to make sure on the way up, your feet don't unwind which is really your hip has unwound and your foot has slid on the floor. So you really want to make sure your hip does not lose the turnout, and on the way back you don't want to cheat it and kind of do something weird that looks like that on the way down. You really want to make sure it's just retracing your steps on the way up and the down, and that there's absolutely no swooshy sound like whoosh, whoosh, whoosh of the floor with your foot. So that's the two-legged version, but if that's too easy for you, then you can do a one-legged version. And it's similar to what we did in videos 2 and 3, but with a really big focus on the turnout. And we'll maybe do these ones a little bit slower for the sake of the turnout. And so we're in a plie, we've got our same tall pelvis, we've got our deep abdominals working. We're really trying to work at those deep rotators at the back of our thigh, right where our little cave is in there. We're trying to get the GT to go straight into that little cave that the glutes make, but it's not that we're clenching the glutes, we're using the thigh bone, spinning it around and getting it into that little cave that's there. And so then we're doing our plie and our rise, not losing the turnout. Now, it's possible when you lose your turnout that you unwind at the leg and your foot starts to look parallel. But a much more common way that you lose your turnout is that you actually unwind and your pelvis starts to go towards where the foot is. And then let's say if I go all the way, now I'm parallel. And if I want to be turned out, I need my thigh to stay there, but I need my pelvis to face you guys, my audience, our front. And so the pelvis needs to be straight ahead. The leg needs to be over there, and we need to be able to do that on the way up and not experience any wiggle of the pelvis as we go up or down. Now, if that's too easy for you, definitely you can do it without the bar is a way to challenge it. It's much harder that way. And also, you can do it with your leg derriere or à la seconde or devant, and just find out which ones are the ones that make you want to lose your turnout the most. For a lot of people, it's the derriere one or the side à la seconde one, but you want to make sure when you plie releve that you don't in any way have your knee look like that, and that would be like, oh dear, you did a grand jeté, and then if you had your foot there, but your knee there because you lost your turnout here, that's a disaster waiting to happen, and we really want to make sure that you can actually keep your turnout when you land those jumps. And so that's a great way to practice that with the leg derriere, and make sure, especially on the landing into that plie, that you don't lose your turnout. And again, you could do that without a bar, and it's just quite a lot harder, but that's a great way to make this really, really practical for yourselves. Woo, see, and then I fall over, because it's hard. And so make sure you do the one that's right for you, and that's how we can really make it practical and functional and ready to just stay strong and healthy with our turnout for all the dancing we ever want to do turned out. So we're going to finish up with some stretches on the mat. So I'll see you on the floor in just a moment. So after a great workout like that, it's really good to take some time to just relax the muscles and go into ranges of motion that can just let the hip joint relax into turnout, and you'll feel a nice stretch at the back of your leg. And so I look forward to showing these to you. Here we go. So similar to the end of video 3, the figure 4 stretch, where we just take our leg, we turn it out, and we put it on top of our thigh, and then we push our hands through this little hole. We lace our fingers together and we come back into our back. That's a really nice position to just let this leg relax and feel a nice stretch in through here. And so whenever you stretch, you want to try to get yourself into a really calm state of being where you can just let tension relax in your body and breathe really calmly. And that is really good for the body. So that's the figure 4 stretch. In video number 5, I'll show you both sides, but for now, let me show you a knee to chest stretch. That's also very much appreciated for everything at the back of our leg. And if you don't feel much stretch here, that's okay. You can skip this one, but some of you will feel a stretch there. But then another nice one is to bring the leg across the body, Don't let your body lift off. Just bring your leg across as far as it will go. And then from there, take your opposite hand, grab onto your ankle, and rotate the leg into turnout again. And you're going to feel a really good stretch along this part of you. And also make sure like you're letting it go. You're not trying to clench on. You're not trying to seize it up. You're just letting it go, letting your hand do all the work, and just let this area melt and relax. If you were listening to music in this video, make sure you calm it right down and listen to really quiet, calm music for this phase so that your breathing really can settle down and be nice and calm and relaxing. And so that is what I recommend for the stretches at the end of this workout. And we've come to the end of this tutorial, but we're going to meet together in video number 5 to sequence it all together and give ourselves a good workout for our turnout. Okay, see you soon. Bye.